Hi everybody, this is Justina with JustynaTHandMade. In today's video I'm gonna show you how I sew up this see-through vinyl little zipper pouch. I keep seeing those pouches on Pinterest and they just look so cute, so I decided to create my own version, and I hope that's something that you're gonna find helpful in your own creative process. I came out with the way this one is put together by myself. I'm not sure if there are different patterns or different ways, but this is something, this video shows you how I would approach sewing up those cute see-through pouches with the binding sides. As you can see, I'm using some see-through vinyl, and my fabric panels are made out of waterproof canvas. I love this combination because you don't need to line the waterproof canvas, and it also have waterproof properties, so you don't have to worry about major leaks when you are using those little pouches as cosmetic bags. This is a free pattern. You don't need to make any purchase from me to complete the project. Obviously, you need the supplies to be able to put this project together. I will include the full cut list for the project in the description box below. You can follow that cut list to make a pouch that is this size. This is a 9x7 size pouch, but obviously you can modify the measurements based on the size of a pouch that you would like to create. This pouch has the mirror fabric panel on the back and continuous panel of the clear vinyl. In this version I use the jelly vinyl. In this one it's just a regular printed vinyl, and it works great with both. If you have any questions about what supplies I recommend, just leave me a note, but just a basic waterproof canvas and any cute printed vinyl will do. I hope that this video will be helpful and that will give you some idea how to put those pouches together. If you do enjoy it, please make sure to give the video a like, and if you are not yet a subscriber to my channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and to check the notification bell so you're not gonna miss any upcoming video tutorials for fun sewing projects. And now, if you want to see how I put this cute see-through zipper pouch together, please keep watching. To start our project, we're gonna prep our pattern pieces and our supplies. All those cuts measurement will be provided in the description box below, so you don't have to write anything down, and obviously that could be customized to the size of the pouch that you would like to create. For this pouch I'm using clear vinyl that is cut at 9 inches in width and 12 inches tall, and this is the size of the roll, so I just cut a straight 9 inches, so I have no waste. I also have 2 pieces of waterproof canvas that's gonna create my top panels, and I cut 2 pieces of waterproof canvas for my binding for the sides. Those are 2 inches in width, and I just made sure that they are about 10 inches, so I have plenty extra binding to work with. As you can see, I already prepped them, so I just fold them in half and then fold them again and press them so it has a nice crease. The note is to be careful with the waterproof canvas. You don't want to be ironing the waterproof canvas on the wrong side of the fabric. It has a rubbery backing on the wrong side, so just make sure that if you're gonna be using waterproof canvas for your binding, you're gonna avoid touching your iron to the back of the fabric. Also, I have piece of zipper that I cut. This is about 12-13 inches. I'm gonna trim it to size after my zipper is sewn in. I'm using obviously a zipper number 5, a zipper pull. I have my backpack and I have some rivets to attach my backpack to my project. So now that we have everything prepped, we're gonna start with attaching our top panels to our clear vinyl. And here you have to pay attention to the right or wrong side of your vinyl. This is my wrong side of the vinyl. Just place it like this because it's rolling up this way. Place your clear vinyl right side up, and using some clips, attach each panel to each of the short edges of your clear vinyl panel, making sure that both fabrics are right sides together. When you have your panels prepped like this, you're gonna take your project to the machine and you're gonna sew along those two edges with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and you can use 3.5 stitch length. I'm just gonna set my machine to 3.5 stitch length and just use it through the project. Now that both panels are sewn in, we're gonna now open them and finger press them. I would avoid using iron because you're working with a clear vinyl, but you can just finger press them open. And when you have that done, you're gonna take the project back to the machine and you're gonna top stitch along those two seams with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Now that our panels are top stitched, we're gonna move on to attach our zipper. Just a tip here, if you are not so sure about your seam allowances and you just want to help yourself with the alignment of the panels on the final pouch, you can now compare the two panels, making sure that they are both the same size after being sewn in. And if not, just trim the taller one. This way, when we are putting the pouch together, you're gonna have a nice alignment of the panels and you're gonna avoid, you know, the shift or the not so neat look of your pouch. So that's just a tip. I don't like projects when you have to stick to the seam allowance so strictly, otherwise your project is not going to come out well. There are ways to just sew, be relaxed, and still achieve a beautifully looking project. So keep that in mind. If you think maybe you were off on your seam allowances, just compare those panels and trim so they are both the same size at this point. All right, so now we're gonna move on to attaching our zipper, and here we're gonna square off one end of our zipper. To do that, I'm gonna first melt the open ends of my zipper, and then I'm gonna create the 90 degrees folds to create my folded ends. You can pin it and take it to the machine and base stitch it, or you can do what I do. I'm just gonna melt the edges and just glue them together so the fold holds. Be careful when you're doing it not to burn your fingers. And now I'm gonna repeat that on the other side. And when you have that done, we're gonna now attach the zippers to our top panels. So you're gonna split your zipper, making sure your project is right side up. You're gonna work with one part of the zipper tape, and you're gonna pin the zipper tape starting 1/2 inch from your left edge, because that's how our zipper will close, and then you want to stop about 3/4 of an inch from the other side and slip the tails of your zipper. What I like to do, I like to use a pin so I can keep it on when I sew, and then slip my zipper tape when I get to the pin placement. Just slip my zipper and just give it a couple stitches. This way it holds the slip tape of the top edge. So repeat that on the other side. This time make sure you are making a mirror image of your zipper. You can compare the placement if it's looking nice and equal on both sides. And when you are happy with your zipper placement, you're gonna take your project to the machine and you're gonna sew the zipper on, making sure you are slipping your tails at the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And like I said, I'm just gonna be using 3.5 stitch length. After the zipper is sewn in, now we're gonna top stitch it. So you wanna fold the panel over, finger press it, making sure that it's nice and straight. Do the same thing on the other side. So you're gonna fold the top edge of the panel, finger press it, making sure your zipper looks nice and straight. And when you have that done, you're gonna take the project back to the machine and you're gonna top stitch from the beginning to the end, making sure that, again, you are keeping the tail of the zipper loose. You're folding your fabric and you are top stitching from one side to the other side. So your project will lie nice and flat this way. And you're gonna repeat that on the other side as well. So take your project to the machine and top stitch the zipper in the upwards position and use 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Now that my zipper is top stitched, we're gonna connect our sides. I'm gonna make sure that my zippers align nicely, that the top of my panels looks good, and then my panels in this place align. Just a note here, if you have a back tag that needs to be sewn in onto your project, then you should do it before you're gonna baste the sides together. My back tag attaches with rivets, so I can do it after my pouch is completed. But if you have a back tag that needs to be sewn in, just do it before we baste the sides together. So now that you have your sides clipped, you're gonna baste the sides together. So take your project to the machine, baste the sides together at the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and you can use 3.5 stitch length. So I baste my top panels together only because my machine just refused to sew on 2 layers of the jelly vinyl. It happens. But the solution for it is, if you add a different fabric on top of your jelly, then the machine seems to be sewing just fine. It's always an issue when I sew only the jelly vinyl together. So I'm not gonna make that stop me. I'm gonna move on to attaching my binding. So I'm gonna take my binding fabric and I'm gonna open it and place it along the edge, making sure I have overlap on both sides, and clip. Repeat that on the other side. And after I have the binding attached, I'm gonna take my project to the machine and I'm gonna sew just off the first crease. I wanna be a little closer to my edge, so I'll give my fabric a little space to wrap around my seam allowances. If that doesn't happen to you and you find yourself short on the binding on the other side of your pouch, you can always trim the seam allowance, so don't stress about it too much. But now that I have all of the binding clipped to my project, I'm gonna go and sew it on, and this time I'm gonna use a 2.0 stitch length, because I'm going to be using the seam loops as my loops to attach my binding by hand. So you want to make sure that they are a little tighter and you have more options to grab the loop with your thread when you are sewing the other side of your binding by hand. So take it to the machine, sew the binding on, and then we're gonna come back and finish it up by hand. Now that I have my binding attached, and like I said previously, my machine didn't want to sew on the jelly vinyl, but just adding a layer of the waterproof canvas, it seems to do a decent job, so don't get discouraged. And now that the binding is on and we have our loops created for our hand sewing on the jelly vinyl, we're gonna wrap the seam allowance into the binding, making sure we can cover the seam. And like I said, if you are short, like if your seam allowance is too big and your binding is not catching the seam, just go in and just trim your seam allowance and that will fix the problem. But I did pretty good, so I have my binding the way it needs to be. And here there are two ways of finishing this up. You can just sew it in by hand like I'm gonna do, or you can just take it back to the machine and top stitch the other side of the binding on with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and just cut the ends. Or you can wrap the ends of the binding. Because I'm using waterproof canvas, I want to make sure I don't have a lot of bulk. First I'm gonna trim the overhang. I'm gonna trim this folded part of the binding. Fold it over and see what needs to be trimmed for me to be able to cover the folded edges with this edge of my binding. So it looks like I need to trim a good amount of binding on this side. I'm not going all the way to the fold because I want to make sure I'm gonna have a nice finish. So I'm just gonna cut a piece that is about 1/4 of an inch from the top. And I'm gonna do the same on this side as well. So now I'm gonna fold the binding fabric, and I'm gonna fold the binding over to cover all the extra fabrics, and this way I'm gonna have a nice and clean fold on the top and on the bottom, because I'm gonna repeat that on both sides. And now that you have the binding prep for sewing, we're gonna sew the binding on using a sewing needle and thread. So I have my binding ready, and I put the thread on my needle, and now I'm gonna show you how I attach the binding by hand. I'm gonna show you how I do the corners and straight line. This way you're gonna be able to refer to this instruction to finish up your binding. So my binding is now sewn in. As you can see, the effect is pretty nice. And now the final thing is to finish up our zipper. You can use a piece of vinyl or waterproof canvas to create the zipper tab. I think this time I'm just gonna use the pre-made metal zipper tab to finish up my zipper, but first I want to make sure that my zipper pull is on. So I'm gonna align my zipper and insert my zipper pull. Want to make sure that the zipper looks nice and straight in the front. It's a little off, so I'm gonna fix that. Now it looks nice and straight, and now I'm gonna attach my zipper end. And now my pouch is ready to use. Your pouch is now completed. I added my back tag, and now my pouch is ready to use. We have a nice space inside, and our binding is looking perfectly because we took the time to sew it by hand. If you are more proficient with sewing your binding on the machine, I would like to see those versions as well. Either way, I hope you're gonna give this pattern a go. All the cuts for this pattern, like I said, are in the description box below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you would like more direct access to myself, make sure that you follow me on Instagram and that you are a member of my Facebook group. Links to both are in the description as well. Don't forget to give the video a like and to subscribe to the channel if you are not yet a subscriber. Till the next time.